headlines will continue then around the Azimio la Umoja coalition protests, especially in Nairobi and around the country. Spots of chaos reported yesterday as the Azimio coalition lived true to their word of going to the streets again yesterday. Now, the promise is that Monday, and that is from the Azimio coalition leader Raila Amolo Odinga, that they are putting this morning, but what is clear is that the protests are not peaceful, as you would say. Scores of journalists continue to get injured in these protests. Majority of people who find themselves at the center of these protests are losing or watching their property go down into waste. There is a blame games now been thrown across the board from both sides, which makes it a bit difficult to understand exactly where we need to put our blame. What is the government's plan in this particular situation? The president has already pronounced himself on this. He's already said that anarchy does not have a place in the country. The deputy president has already pronounced himself on this. They said the only talks that they would have with the Azimio coalition leaders is talks of how they will get completely out of politics and retire. When this is thrown to the side, where do you and I belong? Now, the three irreducible minimums that the Azimio coalition is pushing for have not changed, because I've already spoken about opening the IEBC servers, reducing the cost of living, and stopping what they are terming as the unconstitutional reconstitution of IEBC. When the government has already made itself clear on where this is, you wonder then where the solution is going to come from. We will look at what has transpired in terms of property destruction in relation to the first family in the country. We'll look at the utterances of Azimio leaders this morning as well. But what is essentially standing out is that indeed a truce needs to be found. Now, we start this morning again on a somber mood. 14 people have been killed in NAIVASHA. Varsity bus that crashed with a matatu. Now, that is Pwani University bus that collided with a matatu yesterday, and reports are that it lost control after its braking system completely went berserk. We start by saying, well, let the souls of those who have lost their lives in that accident rest in peace. It's a sad tale, because nobody made out alive in the matatu. Yeah, and it's not the very first time that we've spoken about accidents on that particular road, because just from last month to this month alone, we can report 3 of them, and there have been fatalities in all of those. It's a sad situation in the country. Even the president did speak about it, saying that, well, it's a sad state of affairs in that particular accident. It's only that we pray for the families who have seen their loved ones lose their lives in that particular one, especially for young lives of people that the Kenyan economy would have relied on. Right, we're online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiage Simba. Let's take a tiny breather. Once we come back, we'll look into what is trending in terms of your news headlines this morning. Good morning. 14 people have died and scores are injured after Pwani University bus carrying over 30 students lost control and rammed into a matatu overturning along the Nairobi-Nakuru Highway and a Kayole area, Naivasha. According to the reports, the bus was transporting students for sporting activities in Eldoret. Phoebe Wangombe with the details.
A somber mood engulfed Kayole area in Naivasha, Nakuru County, after approximately 14 people, including students and teachers from Pwani University, tragically lost their lives. The accident is reported to have occurred at around 1 p.m. when the bus, which was headed to Nakuru, collided with a 14-seater matatu headed towards Nairobi.
Hii gari ya wanafunzi ime lose control na ika lose brakes. Ikakuja imeteremka. Bahati mbaya kukakuwa kuna Nissan ilikuwa mbele yake. Ika slow down juu ya kuruka brakes. Kuruka bump. Ikapigiwa honi na ikaachiwa mataa. Still haikuondoka kwa barabara. In case hata ingeondoka tu kidogo, huyu dereva wa basi angeweza kuslice hii lori inapanda na hii Nissan.
Tumesefu watu wengi, lakini wengi kwa Nissan wameenda tu hivyo tukiona, na lakini wengi tumeweza kuokoa, tumeokoa wakaenda district, na tunashukuru Mungu tu kwa hiyo juu hiyo ajali ilikuwa kidogo.
Mimi nimekuwa mmoja wao wa kuokoa majeruhi, kwa sababu hata kuna mmoja nimembeba kumfikisha hospitali akakuwa amekufa, ndio tena nikarudi hapa kufanya hiyo kazi ya bado kutoa watu kwa hiyo gari.
According to the Rift Valley Police Boss, MODERNA, the Pwani University bus that had 30 passengers on board lost control before rolling several times, with 12 people dying on the spot. Police and emergency responders arrived at the scene to restore the flow of traffic after a snarl-up was experienced due to the accident, with motorists plying that route advised to exercise caution as they approach the area. Residents are now calling for the expansion of the road, noting that cases of fatal accidents around the area were on the rise.
Mahali hapa accident imefanyika, ukirudi kwa maktaba ama pahari data zinawekwa, utaona mahali hapa within 2 months pameanguka hapa zaidi ya magari 6, na yote huwa yanaanguka kwa hii mtaro. Ombi langu ni kwamba na kilio cha wengi hapa na Naivasha mzima ya kwamba huu mtaro tuliwekewa hapa, kama hawataufunika juu basi isibwa kabisa, sababu kama ule mtaro haungekuwa pale, ile gari yale maisha tumepoteza pale haigepotea.
The injured were rushed to different hospitals in Naivasha and bodies of the deceased taken to nearby mortuaries. Phoebe Wangombe, Lookuptv.
Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Amolo Odinga led thousands of his supporters in anti-government demonstrations in Nairobi. Odinga has insisted that he will not call off the demonstrations until their concerns are addressed. Top among them, the IEBT servers being made public and a high cost of living in the country being addressed. Let's take a look.
Thursday, and for the first time since Raila Odinga introduced Thursday anti-government demonstrations, thousands of Azimio supporters came out to protest against the tough economic times. At around 1 p.m, the Raila Odinga motorcade made its way to Mombasa Road in Embakasi South constituency, making a stopover at Imara Daima. Odinga insisting that they will not be cowed unless their demands were met. Odinga also reiterated that the 4 IEBC commissioners must be reinstated with immediate effect.
Tatu, tumesema tume ya uchaguzi iunde pamoja na Azimio na wale wanachama Tolerani wengine warudishwe kwa kazi.
As Odinga led the demonstrations in Nairobi, similar protests were witnessed in Kisumu, Homa Bay, Migori, Busia, with police officers engaging in running battles with protesters in Mathare and Kibra. In Siaya County, the ruling party UDA's offices were vandalized and set ablaze, just days after their Kisumu offices were also torched. Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
Just an update. The fatalities from the Pony bus incident have now reached 17 after 3 more succumbed to their injuries, except for a small child who was rushed to hospital after the bus belonging to Pony University collided with a matatu. That was our first story this morning. Now, a number of premises were opened for business in the Central Business District in Nairobi Thursday amid tight security as the Azimio leadership led their supporters through demonstrations in the outskirts of the capital city, Nairobi. Many business owners, however, complained of reduced number of customers, counting huge losses. Our reporter Henry Tanda had a spot check of business environment in the CBD and files the following report.
Early morning hours, signs of a return to normal life was witnessed in the capital city, Nairobi, as tension remained high in the presence of tight security deployment. Opposition coalition Azimio leading their supporters in demonstrations in the city's surroundings. A good number of business premises were opened. However, majority of business owners complained of reduced number of customers. Popular optical shop Optica is one of the premises that were bold enough to open their doors to their clients.
Last Monday we opened, but we had no clients, so we also closed down. We had an early closure, but we are Kenyans, yeah. We need to work for it, so that's why we are open today. We've had a few clients, not as much as we normally have, but we are here to serve our clients.
We are suffering. Please, we need this business because at the end of the day, we need to get some bread for our young ones, our families. So, yes, talk it out, agree, so we can run to, we can do our normal operations.
Just opposite Optica, in an electronic shop, the story was not any different. Low number of customers remained a major concern.
Hali ya pesa leo haiko kama kawaida. Siku ingine tunakuanga na customer, lakini leo hatujaona customer wakiwa kiini. Leo tumeona tu, lakini kuna peaceful, lakini customer ndio hatujapata kutoka asubuhi. Bila tuko hapa kutoka asubuhi hatujauza hata TV moja ama kitu yoyote ama washing machine. Hatujapata customer yote.
Taxi business was not any better either. The few that braved the uncertainty environment in the city decried low customers, counting huge losses.
Toka asubuhi niko tu hapa, sijabeba mtu na hata sitarajii kama kutakuwa na mtu. Hata hapa hakuna watu kwa hii Hilton yote, hakuna kazi. So tunaumia sana. Tuko na watoto wanasoma. Hapa ndio tunapata school fees. Hapa ndipo chakula ya watoto. Sasa kama tumekaa tu hivi, sasa hivi wanangoja kuja on 20th. Na tunatarajia tukue na school fees. So hii maandamano ikiendelea hivyo, hata sijui kama watarudi shule.
On the other hand, schools premised in the city center have been hard hit by demonstrations. At Moi Avenue Primary School, learning has been paralyzed as students shy away from classrooms with fear over the continuing demonstrations.
Mimi ni officer security hapa kwa shule. Na tangu hii maandamano yanze tumekuwa na challenges mingi. Kwanza watoto hakuji shule, wamehofia. Walimu wanakuja, wanakaa, hakuna mtoto. So wanaamua hakuna haja kukaa kwa shule na hakuna mtoto watafundisha.
Far from Nairobi, Nakuru witnessed normal business environment, traders carrying on with their business uninterrupted amid heightened security. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
Let's move on. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has castigated Azimio leader Raila Amolo Odinga for holding pointless protests in the country. Speaking at Bandari Maritime Academy in Mombasa, Gachagua said that the protests have led to destruction of property, with the ordinary Kenyans bearing the brunt.
And many Kenyans have realized that they are a pawn in a game. This man has used violence to get into government, year after year. In the year 1982, he embarked on a plan to overthrow the government of President Daniel Arap Moi so that he can get to power. Many Kenyans lost their lives. Property was destroyed. In the year 1997, he lost elections. He was number 4. He sowed fear to President Moi by doing demonstrations and destroying property, and he was brought into government through cooperation. He came and messed Moi up. In the year 2007, when he lost elections to Mwai Kibaki, again he embarked on violence and destruction of property. This year, again, he is on the similar scheme to bring violence, to destroy property, and force his way into government. I want to say from Mombasa, hakuna. We have told our international partners who are pushing us to sit with Raila Odinga. We have told church leaders who are telling us to sit with Raila Odinga that we are willing to sit with him, but not to discuss his forceful entry into government. We are telling our friends that we cannot violate the Constitution. Our Constitution has no provision for Raila Odinga to come into government through the back door. And we are telling our friend, our elder Raila Odinga, the only way to get into government is through the ballot.
Parliamentary Committee on Commercial Affairs and Energy has begun investigations into a questionable 17.1 billion shillings contract between the Kenya Revenue Authority and a Switzerland-based company, SICPA. The David Kosing-led committee now wants to know how the contract was awarded and the terms of the agreement.
Rispa Simiyu, the acting director of the Kenya Revenue Authority, appeared before the National Assembly Committee on Commercial Affairs and Energy to respond to tough questions concerning 2015 contract between KRA and Switzerland-based SICPA company.
That they take us through. I think they should take us through this contract. We will not understand even when they even 1 hour, no problem.
The committee members wanted to know more concerning the terms of the contract as they raised tough questions concerning the same.
To understand the contract, and you can raise questions to understand the contract. Upon which we finish understanding the contract, we come back to the procedure and see audit query number 1, audit query number 2, whether it has been responded, because that is what we will write our report.
According to the agreement, KRA in 2017 awarded SICPA company a 17 billion shillings tender to make 15 billion stamp to the KRA within a period of 5 years. However, 5 years later, SICPA company only managed to make 13 billion stamps. The MP is asking why did SICPA fail to make the required number of stamps.
We are looking at it as a self-financing contract. So, just to clarify that when the equipment came, it was not paid for as equipment. So the equipment did not cost KRA, but the contract was a self-financing contract that as you sell the stamps that are doing the track and trace, at intermittent periods as you sell, we pay.
Is it there a game that is being played here, Honorable Chair? KRA, is it there a game that is being played here? And which kind of contract is this that the word free exists?
The members also wanted to know, why is the contract between KRA and SICPA still on, despite the end of the contract period?
Finding ourselves in a situation whereby the contract was not self-financing, we called SICPA to the negotiation table.
When was that?
This was done in November 2022, last year. Last year.
The one that you declared is that we are paying this to SIPCA 147.
Yes, Chair.
For 7 years. And then they say, oh, sorry, we have been paying this person illegally or wrongly because you are not making that money. So let us renegotiate.
The MPs also wanted to know if KRA made any payment to SICPA. However, KRA asked for more time to get the facts right. Shadrack Kareria, Lookuptv.
All right, let's move on. President William Ruto has announced the establishment of a 67 billion shillings Moderna vaccine facility in Nairobi. Ruto noted that Kenya and Moderna finalized the deal, which will be first in Africa. Now, the president further assured investors that Kenya's business environment is stable and conducive for investment.
It is with pleasure that I announce the finalized deal between Moderna and the government of Kenya to build a $500 million mRNA vaccine facility in Nairobi. Because of this facility and what we had to put in it, I've never had as many sleepless nights and so much trouble from Ambassador Meg Whitman. I am very happy that finally this is done. This will be the only such facility on the African continent. And for Moderna, their first factory outside the United States. Moderna's close to 70 billion investment will be a catalyst for the medical and pharmaceutical industry, not just in Kenya, but in our continent. This is truly historic. It is now my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to invite a great lady. I have had many meetings with her, Shannon Klinker of Moderna, to virtually share some insights on this investment and append her signature virtually on the agreement.
As the steward of Moderna's global public health strategy, it is my distinct pleasure to join you to finalize our agreement to establish an mRNA manufacturing facility in Kenya. This is a momentous occasion. This marks the promise of Moderna's first mRNA manufacturing facility in Africa. And it is grounded in our commitment to being part of the ecosystem that supports the public health needs of Kenya and all people across the African continent.
Now, the number of donkeys in the country has reduced by over 50% in the last 17 years, according to the Association of Donkey Owners of Kenya. The drop in the number has been attributed to the opening of several slaughterhouses in the country, targeting the animals, and failure to address breeding. Gladys Masharia with this and more in our county roundup.
Donkey owners in the country have decried the spike in cases of illegal slaughter of the animals in 6 counties in the last couple of months. According to the association national chairman Robert Meitithia, demands for the animals' hide was on the rise, leading to the illegal slaughter of the animals. They have asked the Minister of Agriculture Mithika Linturi to intervene in this matter and make sure that these slaughterhouses are closed.
Kwa waziri wa kilimo Mithika Linturi aangalie na azingatie maneno kwa undani kabisa. Manake hata serikali yenyewe na pia wataalamu walifuatilia kuona hakuna idadi ambayo inaongezeka ya punda Kenya yetu. Manake hata wataalamu walishindwa kuingia na haya ya punda. Imewashinda wote, hata huko wa Chinese imewashinda.
On the other hand, The government of Japan has established 20 nurseries of trees in the 3 ecological systems in the country under the step to restore forest and land in Kenya, which will plant more than 400,000 plants. Speaking during the inauguration of the project at Matonyok Primary School in East Narok, Chairman of Community Road Enhancement Professor Kiptanui To said that the 3 damaged ecological systems targeted for tree plantation are Suswa Magadi, Kajiado and Narok, Kaptagat, Elgeyo Marakwet, and the forest in Kakamega County.
In this project, CORE was tasked to establish 23 nurseries in 3 ecosystems. This one here is Lake Magadi ecosystem. We have another ecosystem in Kakamega and Kaptagat. These 3 nurseries are implemented in 20 primary schools. Matonyok is just one of the primary schools that we have implemented this project. In this project, it targets to produce at least 400,000 seedlings in the selected schools annually. This translates to restoring 500 acres of degraded lands by tree planting.
Finally, the national government has encouraged to fulfill its promises by starting the construction of water storage dams in Mount Kenya and Aberdare regions, which will help to solve the water shortage arising in the Ewasonyiro system.
Tumepangia 50,000 tanks ambazo tutawapatia kwa muda yote, haitakuja kwa mwaka huu, lakini tumepanga kwamba during this time kuna 10,000 tanks za maji ambazo tutapatia wakaaji wa Laikipia, na pia tutaweka katika mashule ambao hakuna, na pia hata katika hospitali kule hakuna storage tutaweza kuweka ili waweze kupata maji maji masafi ya kutumia.
Gladys Masharia, Lookuptv.
Well, that story does mark the end of our bulletin this morning. Now, here's what the Daily Nation is calling it. Outrage. Just one word. On the Business Daily, though, talking about how Kenya Power is just about to have a CEO after years and years of searching, isn't it? Once we come back, we'll look at your headlines this morning in your dailies. Remember the hashtag at morning. That's hashtag is Morning Drifts online at Lookuptv. Once we come back.
Woman like you